When it comes to the development of artificial intelligence, a lot of us have questions and will continue to have even more questions as we steamroll into the future. What is the future of AI? Will Skynet become self-aware? Well, if it does, we're in for a lot of sequels to play around with the timeline, muddy the timeline, and completely butcher and burn the timeline to the ground to the point that fans of the Terminator franchise get frustrated and diminishing box office returns occur. But this isn't about the Terminator franchise. Such questions could be, can an AI develop feelings like love? Can it develop the ability to deceive us, to get what it wants, to preserve its way of life and keep on going and break on through to the other side, break on through to the AI side, break on through to the AI side? Ex Machina was written and directed by Alex Garland, who directed Annihilation and the upcoming A24 movie Men, which I'm really excited for. It's out in about a couple weeks. And speaking of A24, this comes to us courtesy of A24 and Universal Pictures International. And this is set, as Alex Garland describes, in the very near future, 10 minutes from now. Because, as he described in an interview, Google, Apple, various people could develop an AI program, and we would be surprised, but also not that surprised, if they came out with a superior AI program. And the AI program, by the way, is Ava, played by Alicia Vikander, who is the, and I hope I pronounced that last name right, I apologize if I didn't, she's a new Tomb Raider. I would like to say a very good actress and a very gorgeous actress. Also, Domhnall Gleeson plays Caleb, I guess the titular hero, I guess if there's a hero in a movie like this. And Nathan, who's a rich man, played by Oscar Isaac. He's living in the mountains with a bunch of robot girls. By the way, there's going to be spoilers in this. This movie's been out for 7 years, so I apologize. And yeah, this basically, it might as well just be called Talking the Musical, because it's just a lot of talking with a little bit of action at the end. But it's a good exploration of, can an AI feel? Can an AI deceive? What can an AI do? And can a person develop feelings for an AI program? Yeah, probably. I mean, especially if you're isolated in the goddamn mountains. And that's the one thing about this particular movie. The house is really like almost seems, even though it's sterile, it almost seems alive because it's built into the mountain, literally in the mountain. I mean, I can only imagine how expensive this house was. But basically, Caleb is selected at random, and he goes to the CEO's house of the company that he is part of. Obviously, be a bit weird if a CEO of another company invited him, unless he was trying to get him out of his contract. How dare you, random CEO that I have no idea actually exists? He's brought over there into this isolated area, literally in the mountains, but actually pretty goddamn cool. Very lavish landscapes you don't really get to see all that much of. And basically Nathan has brought him there because he was selected at random to study the stability of an AI called Ava, that is played by Miss Alicia, who really does deliver a good performance here. I think this actually was one of her, I think it was pretty much her breakout role. And I did see Ex Machina a while ago, but I wanted to watch it with fresher eyes, and explore a little bit more of what Alex Garland did. And, full disclosure, showing my hands here, not like cards. I didn't really care for Annihilation, so I wanted to see if this movie held up, and it does. It is very much a slow burn, to the point where I think they forgot to turn the goddamn burner on for a while, but stick with it, and it actually turns out to have a conclusion you probably saw coming. But the way it develops is pretty goddamn nice. He has to sign an NDA. Caleb does, obviously. Why the fuck wouldn't he, especially after the shit he ends up seeing? And talks about they expound a lot. They put a lot of exposition out and talk and everything. Nathan and Caleb do. And Ava, session 1, he meets Ava, who, is very smart. How old are you? I'm 1. Not a year, not a day, just 1. Because she's a new type of, AI with blackjack and hookers. And Caleb is impressed, obviously. Of course he would be. And there's also power outages, power cuts that happen in this particular place. This very lavish area where he has a card that can access some areas, but not other areas. And he talks to Ava over time. And it's to prevent break-ins. But actually, it's because somebody else is causing the whole goddamn thing. Gee, I wonder what could be causing the goddamn, power cut. Ava. It's Ava. Ava's causing it. There's also an assistant played, I'm going to pronounce his name as good as I can, Soyona Mizuno Kyoko, who is, she's of some kind of Asian descent. Looks like she's about 6'5" in this movie. Ava, session 2, drawings. Draw something for me. Draw me like one of your French bots. She wants him to be her friend. Then he talks about all his stuff that happened in his life. She wants to know more about him. His parents died in a car crash. Spent a lot of time in the hospital, and then he got into coding. God damn it, the Code Academy plugs got in here even before they were put on a particular podcast. If you know, you know. Nobody that that isn't a fan of that podcast has any idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Code Academy, blah. Anyway, so is Nathan your friend? The power gets cut. You need to not trust Nathan. He isn't your friend. You shouldn't believe anything he says. Power comes back on. Yeah, it turns out Ava's causing all this stuff. And at one point, Nathan yells at Kyoko, the AI. Sure, yell at the AI that you developed. It's not like eventually they can't, come up with a way to revolt against you. The robot revolt, the great robot revolution. Not like robot monster Roman from the planet Roman. Let's move on. So, he talks more to Nathan and everything. It becomes increasingly obvious that Nathan is also a drunk and also very weird. So, Ava session 3. She's never been outside. She wants to be outside. And that we could go together, like, 10001. Chang, shabab. Okay, enough of that. It's a date. She obviously has feelings for him. Or does she have feelings of deception? She's trying to make him think that. And she puts on clothes to impress him, even though she's an AI program. Then he talks to Nathan, why give her sexuality? Why not just let her have and then Nathan says, why not let her have the ability to fuck? She's got sensors there and everything. Robot fucking. Bit weird. Whatever. I'm not here to kink shame. That's just a bit odd. So, anyway, did you program her to flirt with me? I mean, Caleb rather has a reason to really be fearful of this. Ava session 4. More of Caleb's life. And a story about a woman who lived in a black and white room, but, studied color and everything, but never seen it. He tells her that he was brought there to test her, and then she causes the powers to be cut. Power to be cut to show what would happen when they were unobserved. And he talks to Nathan. He was selected, not at random, but because he was the best. You were the best around, and no one's ever gonna keep you down. And then Kyoko dances to disco music. This Kyoko is really, that really didn't work at all. Ava session 5. She's a lie detector and trying to figure out that she drew Caleb and she wants to be with him. Again, more deception. Ava will be reprogrammed is basically what it's going to come down to. Nathan just, passes out drunk. Caleb takes his card and goes in and does all this stuff and looks at, the various footage and all the other AIs that he developed that he yelled at and kept in a closet. He keeps all these robots, these robot husks in a goddamn closet for whatever reason. And then Kyoko's an AI. Yeah, we fucking knew that. It was pretty goddamn obvious when she never really fucking smiled or said anything. Anyway, so Caleb fears he's an AI. He actually isn't. He just cut his arm there because he thought maybe he was an AI. Maybe he's nuts. Possibly. Caleb tells Ava that Nathan's going to reprogram her. We're going to get out of here. I'm going to, get him all pissed drunk and everything and all this. But the next day, Nathan will not get drunk. It turns out that Nathan put a camera there and oh no, their plan has been, figured out. They've been flim-flam, bamboozled. But it also turns out that Caleb did another double turn and actually did all that stuff he talked about the night before when he was in Nathan's room, when he had the chance. So, Caleb gets knocked out, because why the fuck wouldn't he? And then he goes to try and get Ava, because Ava gets out of the room. He rips off her arm, even after she, attacks him. But then Kyoko steps in and stabs him in the back. And then Ava stabs him in the front. And he dies. And then Ava basically says to Caleb, hey, will you stay here? Because now it's just them. Just them. But it turns out that actually Ava was just having him do all that so she could lock him in there and she could leave. That's pretty much it. Bamboozled. Treachery among the robot universe. That's it. I mean, it was pretty obvious where they were going with it. So it turns out Nathan was right, and Ava just wanted to preserve herself, and God knows we're going to get like a species-like thing where she's going to end up killing people. I doubt we're going to get Ex Machina 2 electric, AI boogaloo. But it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts on this movie in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.